Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well today. I hope you all have had a fabulous February, and if you celebrate Valentine's Day, I hope you had a great Valentine's Day with your friends or loved ones. February was a great scent month for me. My overall theme was raspberry and lavender, but I also incorporated a couple other berry type scents and other floral scents like rose and sweet pea, and just overall I really enjoyed the month a lot. I've never done a raspberry theme, and I ended up having quite a bit of wax that fell into that theme, and it was just really great. I really enjoyed almost everything I melted on some level. I was excited to melt stuff. There are times that I'll get tired of my particular theme by the end of the month, but I kind of just power through it because I don't want to have to go like searching through all my wax. But this month I was like, oh wow, I could have actually had a few extra days of raspberry and lavender and the things that I was melting. So really happy, and also I'm happy with the amount that I got through last month. Considering February has only 28 days, I feel like I still finished quite a lot of wax and candles. I'm kind of changing up some of my theming. A lot of what I did last year was I chose like one thing, one main scent, and I melted or burned all of that type of scent. So for example, I would choose strawberry, and then I would melt a ton of strawberry scents. And while I still love to do that, I found that when I don't at least have a little bit of a variety, that I kind of burn myself out on that particular scent, and everything can tend to start smelling the same. So this year I'm trying to do like a blended theme. Like for example, this month was raspberry and lavender. March is going to be banana, blueberry, and a little bit of lemon. I'm still doing my theme, but I'm mixing it up a little bit. I think that's a little bit more exciting for me, and hopefully it will be for you as well. I want to thank you all for your patience and understanding that my January empties was so late when I posted it. I am filming this video at the beginning of March, but because I keep my grandmother the first 2 weeks of the month, it's very difficult for me to find time to edit the video. I have to really do it when she's in bed. So I am going to try to get this one up sooner, but just thank you as always for your patience. I've actually had the thought a couple of times that maybe I need to kind of put this hobby to the side because I just don't have enough time in my life to really invest the amount of time that I would like to invest in it. But your positive comments, the likes, and all the support that you give me, and all those just kind and sweet things that y'all say really keeps me motivated to continue to do these videos. So I really just can't thank y'all enough for all the love and all the support. I greatly appreciate it, and I thank you for your patience. As with all of my empties videos, I'm going to start with my random bits first. I have a couple of hand soaps and wallflowers, then move into the wax melts, and then move into the candles. I will leave the timestamps below, so if you're only interested in a particular portion of the video, you can click on the timestamp and just watch the portion of the video that you're interested in. As I do have quite a bit here, I'm going to stop rambling, and if you're interested in hearing about what I melted, use, and burn in February, let's get started. We finished 2 hand soaps in February. The first one I finished was Winter White Woods. To me, this scent smelled like a creamy sweater weather. It wasn't an exact dupe of sweater weather, but it was actually quite close. I would say maybe like a cousin. And even though generally I'm not a huge fan of the foaming hand soaps, I did find myself like gravitating toward that specific bathroom, so I could use this one because I like the scent so much. So I'd love to see this scent back in a different form next year, and I would definitely pick it up again. The next soap that we finished is this Creamy Luxe Fresh Rain and Spearmint hand soap. I think this came out last year, maybe the year before. This was a very aquatic, fresh scent with just a little bit of that spearmint. It was definitely more of the aquatic, fresh vibe, which I actually really enjoyed because I was really over like some of the winter, heavier type scents. So this was nice to kind of move me into spring. I used 2 wallflowers in February, both of them the same scent, linen and lavender. I think this one was from last year and this one was from this year. They both performed pretty well. They didn't really finish all the way to the end, but the scent was nice. This isn't the strongest scent, but it's definitely present. And when I walked into like the bathrooms where I had these, I definitely could smell it. It just kind of smelled clean and fresh in that space. So not as strong as some other wallflowers, but still I enjoyed it. I used this peachy bath bomb from Lush. It was a really fun bath bomb. It looked just like a peach. I really liked the color. It kind of turned into like an orange. It wasn't as moisturizing as some of the others, but I finished this Bubble Rune in Lush's Putty Holly. This is from the Christmas range. I like the Bubble Runes because you get a nice amount of bubble, but that moisturizing oil in the middle really does add this luxurious, creamy feel to your bath water. I really love the color that this turned the water. It was like this really nice green color, and the scent was nice and warm and quite different than a lot of the other things they do, so I enjoyed this one a lot. And I don't have a label for this one, but this was the Turtle Turtle bath bomb, the smaller one, and I really enjoyed this one a lot. It went perfectly with the Putty Holly as far as that really green, vibrant color of the water, and I really enjoyed the scent a lot, so I would definitely be getting this one again since it's still available online. That is all of the random bits for February, so I'll move right along into the wax melts. Like I mentioned, I'm really happy with the amount I got through last month and what I melted last month. My overall theme was raspberry and lavender and mixed in with some other berry and floral scents, and it was just a great month. That balance between the fruity and the floral really worked for me. Even though I have a ton of empties, there are a couple of scents I want to talk about that I didn't quite finish, but I really enjoyed. The first one is Destination Wax's Pistachio and Rosewater Cake. Really love this one. It is not your typical pistachio scent. I'm not a huge fan of pistachio, but I'm really glad that I tried this one because it's just a very creamy, edible kind of pistachio. It's not really heavy or cherry-like. And then that bakery note with the rose water is just very elegant and beautiful, and it is just one that I love to melt, especially this time of year. I also melted a lot of this Destination Wax Vanilla Anise. This was a top 17 scent of 2017 for me, and I still absolutely adore the scent. For me, I can melt this any time of year. If you are looking for something outside of the box, you know, not your typical powdery kind of perfume type scent, but something really elegant and beautiful and quite sophisticated and complex, definitely give this one a try because it is gorgeous. And the last melt that I melted but didn't quite finish was this Destination Wax French Lime Blossom. This one is another beautiful floral scent. Y'all know that I'm not the hugest fan of floral scents, but this one is sort of fresh but also pretty at the same time. So it doesn't come across as like heady or perfumey. It just adds this really lovely elegance to the air, and I love it. It is a dupe of a L'Occitane scent, I'm pretty sure, although I can't recall the one at the moment. It's also super strong. 1/2 of a cube in my 20-watt hot plate warmer like completely will fill the back half of my house, and it's just gorgeous. So also really recommend this one if you're looking for something unique. All right, moving on to the wax melts that I actually finished. The first melt I finished this month is this mini melter bag and RoseGirls Dunk My Donut. This is one that I actually was melting in January as well and finished it up in February. This scent is so good, so delicious and yummy. Cinnamon sugar donut perfection. If you like that scent from Bath and Body Works, it's definitely one that I can see melting probably all year long because the cinnamon doesn't lend itself to be like a wintry or Christmas kind of cinnamon. It's definitely that cinnamon sugar bakery perfection. The strength and throw is about a 6.5 for 1 mini melter in my Scentsy Accord Warmer. I will definitely be repurchasing this one. I finished the snowflake melt in the Bathing Gardens Winter Apothecary. This is ribbon candy, spiced tea, cinnamon, and the flower shop in the snow. This one is a really nice candy and sweet spice blend. It is also a Southbound Candle Company scent. I think she calls hers like ribbon candy or something like that, but it is the exact same scent as I've smelled from Southbound before, if you're familiar with that scent. I really enjoyed it. The candy with the spiciness, it's just really nicely blended, and it's perfect sort of for the end of winter or moving into spring in my opinion. The strength and throw is at an 8.5 for half of the melt in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. I finished the Scent Shot Cup in Destination Wax's Vanilla Dream Cake. This is layers of vanilla cake, marshmallow buttercream, confetti sprinkles, and crushed sugar cookies. This one was a really nice vanilla bakery blend. I do think it might have needed a bit of a longer cure time, even though it was poured in November of 2018. So I guess that was what, about 3 months. It was a lighter scent, but that's not necessarily unexpected because a lot of vanilla scents are lighter scents in general, especially comparing them to other scent families. This was about a strength and throw, about a 3.5, 4 for half of the scent shot in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. It was really nice though. I could definitely see repurchasing this. So if you're looking for a really nice vanilla bakery blend, this one will be good. The next melt I finished is this Bento Wax Lucky Stars in lavender and cotton candy. I debated on whether or not I should even include any of this Bento Wax in my empties as I'm using it and finishing it because the vendor is no longer open, and I understand that she closed with sort of a bit of a drama, kind of owing people money, and I don't want to misspeak because I don't know the details, but I decided I would go ahead and at least show you the wax because I did use it, I did finish it. I'm not going to throw away the wax that I've already bought. This scent was actually really nice, very sweet and relaxing. A lot of that cotton candy came through, which I ended up enjoying. The strength and throw was about a 7.5 for 1 full sushi roll in my 24-watt hot plate warmer. The next one I finished is this Bathing Gardens lemon curd and rose milk. The notes are tart lemon curd layered over fresh cut roses and blended with rich milk. This is a very pretty, sophisticated, elegant type of blend. It is a nice balance between the rose and that tart lemon, although the rose is more dominant in my opinion at times. You get the lemon in the background, but the rose kind of at least is the note that hits my nose first. It really does smell exactly as the name implies. It has a bit of a creamy vibe that you sort of get that milky rose water kind of vibe as well. For me, it's more of a tolerable scent than one that I really love or enjoy a lot. My grandmother, however, absolutely loved it, and she actually asked for the scent the next day. Because she has Alzheimer's, she doesn't remember a lot much anymore, but when she asked for something, then I know that she must have really liked it. So for that reason, I would have probably get this scent again, but if it wasn't for her, I don't know that I would personally get it. But if you like rose, I think that you would really like this blend. Very pretty, very elegant. The strength and throw was a 7.5 for 1 cube in my bulb warmer, so it was also quite strong. I finished the scent shot in Destination Wax's Peach Magnolia Raspberry. This is a scent that I melted last year as well. This is a fruity floral scent. I think this is a limited edition. This scent is actually just a tolerable scent for me. It does remind me of sort of a body care kind of scent, something that you would actually use as a lotion or a perfume. If you like florals, and especially if you like a fruity floral and something to kind of balance that floral note, I think that you might really like this one. It is a strong scent. The strength and throw is about a 9.5 for half of the scent shot in my 24 hot plate warmer. You definitely have to like your floral scents to be able to enjoy this one, I think. I finished the scent shot in Destination Wax's Raspberries and Sugar. This is raspberries, strawberries, and sugar. It is very sweet and fruity. It was really, really nice. I definitely picked up the strawberry, but the tartness from the raspberry did come through, and it did not really have a perfumed undertone in my opinion. The strength and throw is about a 7 for half of the scent shot in my 24 watt hot plate warmer. I finished the scent shot in Destination Wax's Pomelo and Wild Ginger. Y'all have heard me talk about this scent a lot. It was in my top 18 scents of 2018. I absolutely love this scent. Citrusy pomelo and wild ginger flowers. The citrus comes through more when melting than it does on cold sniff. It's not your typical citrus. It is a very elegant blend. This is another one that I could definitely see wearing as a perfume or as a body care kind of item. It sort of has this Jo Malone vibe, although I don't think it actually is a Jo Malone dupe, but it kind of reminds me of those kind of conceptual type scents. Really beautiful. It's also super strong. The strength and throw is about a 9 for half of the scent shot in my 24 watt hot plate warmer. I finished this sample of Purple Fox Wax's Banana Berry Cake. It is a really yummy banana strawberry nut bread with cream cheese icing scent. It wasn't super strong though. I maybe have needed to cure it a little bit longer, but the strength and throw was about a 5 in my 20 watt hot plate warmer, and I typically get a bit stronger strength and throw from her wax. I did order like the heart shapes in it because I think it's just a really nice combination. I finished the shape in the Bathing Gardens Red Velvet Jubilee. This is a scent that I believe is just released now with the Wonderland collection. This is Red Velvet Cake and Buttercream, a light chocolate cake blend. There is also, to my nose, something fruity in the blend when it's melting. It almost comes across as like this dark red fruit in the background. So you sort of get this light chocolate cake, but this dark fruit that kind of hides in the background that comes out when it's melting. It's actually quite nice. The strength and throw was about a 5 in my 20 watt hot plate warmer for the shape. The next one I finished is the Bathing Gardens Tunnel of Love. This is Red Velvet Cheesecake and Raspberry with Rose Glazed Pudding. This one is a really nice balance of the fruity sweet and tangy raspberry and the rose, and it almost kind of reminds me of like a rose jam scent. The Lush scent rose jams, there's sort of this like jammy rose vibe and not necessarily like a perfumed or authentic rose. It has a really nice creaminess to it, which I really liked, and I enjoyed this one a lot more than I thought I would. The strength and throw was about a 7 in my 20 watt hot plate warmer. I finished this shape in the Bathing Gardens Serendipity Cream Pie. This is coconut cream pie with serendipity, which is vanilla, sugar, cherry, orange, citrus, and coconut. This one is wonderfully creamy and sweet, and the coconut cream pie comes out, and then you get whiffs of that sort of cherry serendipity in the background. So it really kind of smells like this really creamy coconut cream pie with like piles of cherries. The cherry isn't super dominant, so if you're not one that likes a cherry scent, then I think you might still actually like this one because the cherry are very far in the background, at least to my nose. It was quite enjoyable actually. The strength and throw was about a 7.5 in my 20 watt hot plate warmer. I finished this melt in the Bathing Gardens Romeo. This is dark chocolate cake, cherries, and cola cake bites. This one is a very unique blend. It is sweet, dark, and syrupy. You definitely get this sort of sweet cherry juicy note combined with that chocolate cake, and then you get hints of like this syrupy kind of cola note in the background, but that note isn't dominant. And if you've ever had a cola scent in your life, you know that scent can be quite strong strong. But in this blend, it's there, but it's very much in the background. It's a very interesting and unique blend. I actually liked it quite a bit. The strength and throw was about a 7.5 for about the first 2 hours. And then this one actually decreased in strength and throw quite a bit. And it went down to about like a 4, maybe a 5 after that till like the rest of the 8 hours that I kept it in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. So it was odd because this one had like a blast of really strong fragrance, and I guess whatever oil that was burned off, and then I was sort of left with a very much lighter kind of chocolate cake scent after that. I finished this melt in Handmade in Florida's pistachio cake. This is a gloriously fragrant cake scented with rosewater, pistachio, cardamom, and topped with freshly whipped cream. This one is very, very similar to Destination Wax's pistachio rosewater cake, but this one definitely has a bit of a spicy vibe that comes out, especially when it's melting. That cardamom in this one is a bit stronger. They may actually be the same scent as Destination Wax. It may be the same oils, and maybe there's just a slight tweak. Each vendor kind of did their own thing with the actual oil. I'm not sure. They're very, very similar. It's the first time that I've ever run across that pistachio and rosewater cake scent from another vendor before that was so similar. So I really enjoyed this one a lot. I did actually like that little extra spice. It kind of made it feel a bit less elegant though, whereas the Destination Wax scent comes across a bit more elegant and spring-like. But either way, I did still enjoy this one. The strength and throw was about a 6.5 in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. I finished this mini cake bag in Destination Wax's Cape Cod Coast. As you can see, I've had this one for quite a while. I love these mini cake bags. I'm so glad that she's bringing back some mini cakes now because I feel like they're just super convenient. Of course, y'all know that I love this scent. This was the top 18 scent of 2018. This is a very fresh scent. It smells like a conceptual version of the ocean or the sea. It's so fresh and aquatic. It is just fantastic. The strength and throw is about an 8 for one mini cake in my 24 hot plate warmer. This one's definitely one that for me got better with age. When I first melted it, when I first got it, it was I thought pretty light. And then as time went on, it just got stronger and stronger and stronger. So I have already repurchased this one. I absolutely love it. I finished this clam in the Bathing Gardens Alice in Lavenderland. This is a wonderful fresh lavender scent, very herbal lavender, very relaxing. The strength and throw is about a 6.5 for 1 cube in my bulb warmer, and I will continue to repurchase this one. I finished this clam in Sensational Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea is actually one of the few florals that I find enjoyment in. I think because it's a softer scent, a softer floral, and it does kind of remind me of the Bath & Body Works body care. I think that's why I enjoy it. It is very sweet and delicate, very pretty, and not super heavy or heady or perfumey. The strength and throw was about an 8 for 1 cube in my bulb warmer, and I would actually probably get this one again. I finished this little shape in Handmade in Florida's Fresh Snow. This is a refreshing blend of lavender, mint, whipped cream, vanilla, and confectioner's sugar. This one is definitely much more mint and cream than the lavender. The mint and the cream were definitely the dominant notes. They were just very, very light wisp of lavender in the background. For the most part, I would have probably considered this more to be a January scent for me. Definitely more minty versus just like spa-like or relaxing. Although I did really like it. It was a refreshing scent. The strength and throw was about a 7 for part of the melt in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. I finished the scent shot in Destination Wax's White Chocolate Raspberry Truffle. As you can see, I've had this one for a while too. This one is amazing and I've already reordered it. It is a tart, jammy raspberry scent with the chocolate and the cream. It's very yummy, very authentic. It reminds me of those Godiva raspberry truffles, just like spot on. This is one of the wax melts that I feel like I could take a bite of because it's so realistic and so edible. It's delicious. The strength and throw is about a 7.5, 8 for half of the scent shot in my 24 hot plate warmer. I finished this melt in the Bathing Gardens Love and Madness. This is a fruity floral blend of juicy berries and white flowers. And this one is a very balance between that fruity and that floral. It was actually really nice. So I'm definitely finding some appreciation for some floral scents as I continue to kind of force myself to move outside of my comfort zone and melt more florals. Definitely much more of a person that needs that fruit to kind of balance out some of the heady florals. I'm still not a fan of a lot of them, but this one I actually liked a lot more melting than I did on Cold Sniff. It was very pretty. The strength and throw is about a 6.5 in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. This also may be a Lush scent, but if it is, I'm not exactly sure which one. I finished this clam in Super Tarts President Snow. This is peppermint cream, white rose, and vanilla ice cream. This one is an okay scent. The vanilla ice cream to me actually kind of dominates. You get this really creamy vanilla followed closely by the rose, and then then you get the peppermint kind of on the back end. Sometimes I would smell it and I feel like the peppermint was a bit more dominant, but I think for the most part it was that rose and vanilla or the dominant notes followed by the peppermint. It's a nice blend, not overly floral, but just very different. But it's not one that I necessarily think I would repurchase. The strength and throw is about a 7 for 1 cube in my bulb warmer. The next smell I finished is Goose Creek's Pure Red Rose. Woo, this bad boy is super strong. It is a very perfumed rose scent. There's a slight green notes that do come out just a little bit, but it is very much straight on pure perfumed rose. It is very heady in the fact that it's like, take notice, I'm here, I'm gonna take over. It's very heavy, and like I said, it is super strong. 9.5 for 1 cube in my bulb warmer. I definitely could have gotten away with doing like a half of a cube in my bulb warmer and it would have been plenty strong. If that's what you're looking for, this is definitely the one. Definitely not one that I will likely be repurchasing because it's just a little bit too much for me, but I was able to finish it and I was able to appreciate the scent. The next smell I finished is the Bathing Gardens Rosy Days. This is rose with geranium essential oil. Another very straight rose scent, but the geranium in this brings this almost green type floral note to the blend, and it brightened that rose scent quite a bit. I'm not an expert on florals at all, so if I misspeak, my apologies. I'm just doing the best I can to try to describe what thoughts this scent evoked in my mind. But to me, this one's actually nicely balanced, and I enjoyed this one a lot more than I thought I did. It may be because I melted this one after the Goose Creek Pure Rose scent, and so in contrast to that scent, this one definitely came across more subdued and much more enjoyable to my nose. I don't know that I would buy a clam of this scent, but I wouldn't mind having like another one of these size, just like a one and done kind of thing. The strength and throw was about an 8 for this shape in my bulb warmer, so very strong as well. I finished this shape in the Bathing Gardens Pearls of Winter, red apples, sweet strawberries, pink cotton candy, and raspberry ice. I melted this one in January as well. I really love this scent a lot. The apples are slightly dominant, but the other notes do balance out those apples and sort of sweeten and soften that apple note. It's very sweet and juicy and slightly tangy, and it just really surprised me that I love it. Like, it's an apple scent that definitely for me could be good all year round. Like, I could see melting this one in the transition from summer to fall. I could melt this one in the winter, and now I'm melting it from the transition to winter to spring. So it's just a really nice scent for that, and I have already repurchased it. The strength and throw is about an 8 for part of the shape in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. I finished this clam in Super Tarts Catwoman. This is sweetened condensed milk, vanilla wafers, and mixed berry smoothie. And wow, this one I really loved. The berry notes definitely come through, and then you get this buttery, creamy, gourmand goodness note that comes through, which I'm assuming is vanilla wafers. The condensed milk note is not dominant or sour in this blend, which it can be in some blends. I think I just get more of this like underlying creaminess, which is really nice. So you get this sort of buttery vanilla wafer with a berry note, which kind of registered as a wild berry mousse kind of note. Really enjoyed it a lot, and I've actually already repurchased it. The strength and throw was about an 8 for 1 cube in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. I finished this 2-pack Lilliput and Destination Waxes Petite Fours. This is a vanilla white cake scent with white icing. It is not buttery at all. It kind of reminds me of what some other vendors call like a birthday cake kind of scent. Just a white cake, white icing. Not super like heavy on the vanilla, not buttery, not super creamy either. Just a sweet, nice white cake scent on its own. I think it's nice, but it's also really nice blended with other things. Of course, strawberry, raspberry, just so many different things you could blend this with. The strength and throw is about a 5 for a little more than half of a block in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. I finished this bag of mini melters in RoseGirls raspberry sauce. Love this one so much. This one is sweet and tangy, pure raspberry, no floral, no kind of perfumed undertone, and I just love the amount of tanginess in this one balanced with kind of the sweetness. I love it. It's not super jammy. It's not like what you would imagine to be in a truffle. It really just smells like this thinner kind of tart raspberry sauce. Really nice. I love it alone, also as a blender, of course. The strength and throw is about a 6.5 for 1 mini melter in my Scentsy Accord warmer, and I've actually already repurchased this one as well. I finished this rose shape in Vintage Chic Scents Roses Powder Room. This is peach, lavender, and bergamot. It is peach lavender scent, a very nice combo. It's one of the few ways that I can actually enjoy peach nowadays. I used to love peach scents years ago, just like I used to love laundry blends and cotton blends, and there's lots of scents that I used to love, but now I don't like them anymore. My nose has just changed over the years. And peach is a scent that's very hit or miss for me nowadays. But in this blend, it was actually really nice and I enjoyed it. There was slightly more peach in this blend than the lavender, but it still was nicely balanced and quite relaxing and also fruity. It was very pretty as well. The strength and throw was about a 7 for 2 chunks in 2 different warmers. So I put a small chunk in my 20-watt hot plate warmer, a small chunk in my 24-watt hot plate warmer in my master bedroom, and the combination of those 2 warmers was a strength and throw about a 7. I finished this scent shot in Destination Wax's Black Currant Vanilla. This one is described as a tart, sultry blend, not a fresh berry scent or a bakery scent, a perfume scent. This one I thought that I was going to really like because I like black currant and currant kind of notes typically, and I love so many of her conceptual scents, but this one I just did not like. The melt didn't even finish melting, and I was like, I've got to take that out. It was super strong, like an 8.5, 9 for half of the scent shot in my 24 hot plate warmer, and it definitely was a conceptual kind of sultry type blend, but there was something about it that just did not work right for me personally. I finished the scent shot in Hayden Rose Lavender Linen. This is another super strong scent. It definitely is a laundry blend, linen heavy, lavender secondary, I would say. I'm not an expert in laundry blends. I definitely refer you over to my friend Sasha at Sasha Isms because she is like the queen of laundry and linen type scents. I'm trying to branch out and try a few of them here or there, but sometimes they just give me a headache and I can't tolerate them. This one was super strong. I wasn't able to like melt it all day. I melted it for a few hours and I had to turn it off, and then I turned the melter back on later in the day once I had kind of like cleared out my nose. But it is super strong, super refreshing and clean, and definitely one of those scents that you put in, like it fills your house and it just kind of gives this really clean vibe, which is perfect to start spring in my opinion. The strength though was a 9.5 for half of the scent shot in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. I finished this scent shot in Empire Alchemy Summer Wedding. This is raspberry angel food cake, salty sea air, buttercream toasted marshmallow. This vendor has some of the most unique blends, and I just really applaud her for that. This one was very interesting and very unique. The salty sea air dominated slightly, followed by this slightly kind of floral raspberry bakery note. I would have actually preferred more raspberry personally because that's just the mood I was in with my raspberry scents, but it was still a really nice blend. It did kind of make you think that you were at the beach and there was like a big wedding cake or something like that sitting there. So you got that salty sea air beach vibe, and you got this really nice like cake marshmallow kind of scent as well. So really interesting, very unique. Strength and throw was about a 7.5, 8 for half of the scent shot in my 20-watt and 24-watt hot plate warmer. So I split this scent shot up into 2 warmers in my master bedroom, and the combination of both of those warmers was 7.5, 8. I finished this clam in Zeep's Laundry Day in Marseilles. This is fresh laundry, sweet pea, and cut grass. I actually really like this blend. To me, the sweet grass is dominant, followed by the sweet pea, and then the laundry is sort of the background note, which is probably why I like it. It does kind of make me think of being outdoors and maybe you've got a clothesline outside that you've put some freshly laundered clothes, but you're also getting that grass and the floral from the outside, and it's actually really enjoyable, especially if you like your green grass scents and you don't mind a little bit of laundry. I think that you would like this one. The strength and throw is about a 7.5, 8 for 1 cube in my bowl warmer, so it's quite strong. I finished this clam in the Bathing Gardens Raspberry Coconut Mousse. This is tart raspberry blended with coconut mousse and topped with coconut drizzle. And I really like this scent a lot. It is so yummy. The perfect balance of a very tart, juicy raspberry mixed with that coconut cream. And a lot of times coconut cream can fall to the background and you don't really get it as a note that you can pull out. But in this blend, I definitely could. It came across quite nicely. Really good one. The strength and throw was about a 6.5 for 1 cube in my 20-watt hot plate warmer, and I've already repurchased this one. I also finished this clam in the Bathing Gardens Raspberry Hearts. This one is strawberry slices, ripe raspberries, and white cake. Another one that I really enjoyed. It is a sweeter, fruity strawberry scent mixed with this slightly tangy raspberry scent. You sort of get this somewhat candied sweetness from it. Instead of smelling like fresh raspberries or fresh strawberries, it smells more like a candied strawberry and a candied raspberry kind of note. It wasn't really tart. There's a very slight tanginess in it, but more so is sweet and juicy versus tart. The strength and throw was about a 6 for 1 cube in my 20-watt hot plate warmer, and this is also another one that I repurchased. I finished this bag in Empire Alchemy's Lavender Sugar Cookies. This is sweet lavender, buttercream icing, soft buttery sugar cookie and a touch of lemon sugar. This was one that I also really enjoyed. To me, this actually came across as a lemon sugar cookie with lavender. I didn't actually find the lavender to be a dominant note. Even though it says a touch of lemon sugar, to me that lemon sugar definitely made itself known. But I actually really liked it. The strength and throw was about a 7.5 for a small chunk in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. And I would probably get this one again. I finished this Rosy Bar in Vintage Chic Scents The Parent Trap. This is vanilla ice cream, vanilla, sugar waffle cone, and lavender. A really nice herbal lavender scent with vanilla sweetness. You get this very slight bakery kind of note, I'm assuming from the waffle cone, but it really came across as this really nice vanilla lavender scent, which I found super relaxing and really enjoyed a lot. The strength and throw was about a 6.5 for a small chunk in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. I finished this one in Handmade in Florida's Nightfall. This is a sweet blend of French lavender, creamy vanilla, tonka beans, and confectioner's sugar. And this actually reminded me of Lavender Twilight. It has to be a Lavender Twilight dupe. It's not as authentic as a dupe as the Destination Wax scent in my opinion, because that one is just like spot on, but it is very nice. To me, this one is sweeter and has more of that tonka than the Destination Wax Lavender Twilight, but it was still really good, and that extra sweetness was actually pretty nice. The strength and throw was about a 7 for 1 cube in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. I finished this Blossom bag in Vintage Chic Scents Cheshire's Grin, Grandma's Pearls, and Life is But a Dream. This was actually a big Blossom bag that, as I've used it over the years, I put it in a smaller bag just to save room. This one is lavender birthday cake, cotton candy frosting marshmallow with marshmallow lavender vanilla and lavender vanilla cotton candy frosting. So it really is a sweet creamy lavender scent. I really have found myself loving lavender and cotton candy blends, and this one is really nice. It is still a very soothing blend, but it has a lot of sweetness. So I think that people who don't like herbal lavender scents would still really like this scent because the sweetness is more dominant than the actual lavender itself. It's good for day or night in my opinion. The strength and throw is about a 6.5 for a small chunk in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. I finished this Clam and Super Tarts Berry Good Cookie. This is a house berry scent and sweet sugar cookies. This one is a nice scent. You get it, it's a berry bakery blend. I know a lot of people really love this one, and I did like it, but it wasn't one that I fell in love with personally. The strength and throw is about a 7 for 1 cube in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. Another oldie but goodie from Destination Wax. I finished this 2-pack in Sea Salt and Cocoa Truffle. This one smells exactly like the name. You get this milky chocolate with sea salt, and that salt really balances the sweetness of the chocolate. Sometimes chocolate scents can come across very artificial, and I don't feel like this one is. It was actually really nice, and it was especially nice when like I melted it in the same room with like a raspberry scent. It just was, that was a really nice combination as well. The strength and throw was about a 6 for 1 block in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. I finished the Scent Shot in Empire Alchemy Summer Nights. This is Beneath the Milky Twilight, Sweet Lavender, and Creamy Hot Chocolate. So this is the Twilight Lush dupe with hot cocoa, and it is excellent. Really nice blend. Relaxing and yummy at the same time. The hot cocoa note definitely fades first. Like that oil definitely burned off, not quickly, but it probably burned off in the first like 4 to 5 hours. And then what was left was the Twilight lavender and tonka kind of scent that kept on going and going. The strength of that was about an 8 for half of the Scent Shot in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. It was actually quite strong, and even though that hot cocoa scent kind of went away, the lavender Twilight scent kept going, and the strength did not diminish just because the cocoa scent was gone. So really like this one, and I would definitely get this one again. I finished this Rosy Bar in Vintage Chic Scents You Can't Stop the Beat. This one is berry creme brulee and Nilla wafers topped with cream cheese frosting. This one is a creamy berry bakery gourmand scent. Slightly tangy sour note that comes out, I'm assuming because of the cream cheese. It is a bit odd though. Like at times I would smell it and I was like, I like that. And then I'd smell it, I'm like, that's kind of an odd note that I liked but that I didn't like. The strength and throw was about a 6.5, 7 for a small chunk in my 20-watt hot plate warmer and a small chunk in my 24-watt hot plate warmer. I finished this 3-pack sushi rolls and bentos Field of Dreams. This is lavender mixed with sweet berries. Again, don't want to spend too much time on these, but this was just an okay blend. I didn't really love it that much. It kind of reminded me of like a bathroom cleaner. The strength and throw was pretty weak on this one, about a 5 for a sushi roll in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. I finished this Bundt Cake and Destination Waxes Bride of the Century. This is one that I've also rebagged since the original purchase. This is a very unique blend. It is lavender, chocolate, and roses. To me, I get more rose, followed by the lavender, and then the chocolate. The chocolate to me is definitely in the background, although it is still there. This is such a pretty and elegant scent. Like, you get chocolate and rose scents, and I've had chocolate and lavender scents, but then to mix all three, to me, it's just so unique, and I absolutely really love it. And even though I'm not the hugest fan of rose, I do really enjoy this blend a lot. The strength and throw is about a 7.5, 8 for a small chunk in my 20-watt hot plate warmer, so it is quite strong. I finished this clam in the Bathing Gardens Twirling Trapeze. This one is blue cotton candy, sparkling soda pop, and raspberry blueberry ribbon candy. This one is so much cotton candy sweetness. It is so sweet, but it has hints of that raspberry and blueberry. It's very edible. It almost comes across too as like a very chewy kind of scent, like a taffy, like a saltwater taffy. It is just like a very wonderful, sweet, candied, fruity kind of scent, and it was really, really nice. The strength and throw is about a 7.5 for 1 cube in my 20-watt hot plate warmer. And lastly, but certainly not least, I finished this bar in Scentsy's Thank You. This is a really lovely herbal lavender scent, but slight sweetness as well in there, a little bit of vanilla. It's just perfect for bedtime and relaxation. The strength and throw is about a 7.5 for 1 cube in my Scentsy bulb warmer. Woo, that is it. That is all of my wax melts for February. Like I said, given it was a short month, I got through a ton of melt. Really loved almost everything I melted this month. Such a great theme for me. Let me know in the comments below what you melted in February. If you're only here for the wax melts, thank you so much for watching. I will rearrange and move right on into the candles. Overall, I feel like I had pretty good luck last month with the candles and really enjoyed what I burned. The first candle that I finished is this Bath & Body Works Berry Waffle Cone. This is Sweet Summer Berries, Golden Waffle Cone, and Creamy Vanilla. This is a wonderful scent. It reminds me of berry cobbler. A nice amount of the pie crust comes through, the bakery note, a very subtle spice, and you get berries and a hint of apple. The strength and throw is about a 7.5. The burn was great, except for one of the wicks went out about a little less than the midway range, as you can see, and at the time I could not get it to relight. Well, I didn't want to just chunk the candle at that point because you can see that was still quite a bit of wax, so I just let the other 2 wicks burn, and those burnt down and finished, and then you can see that I have some wax there on the side with the one wick that was being difficult. I have burned several of these at this point, and this is the first one that's ever done that. It was particularly cold in my house during this period of time, so that might have had something to do with it. I think I have a couple more of these left in my collection, and it's definitely one that I would want to pick up again once I'm out because it's a really nice bakery scent that has a nice strength and throw. I really hope we see this scent back again in the future because it's really nice. The next scent I finished is this Bath & Body Works Merry Cookie. I love the label that they did this year. I think they're just so cute. Merry Cookie is a classic scent, fresh baked cookies, sparkling sugar crystals, and rich vanilla. Is a really yummy sugar cookie scent. The strength and throw is about a 7.5, so really good for a vanilla bakery scent. The burn on this one was okay. It was fine the first half, but I did have to cotton ball it at the halfway point because the wax just got so black and sooty. You can actually see like all of that black residue in there, and of course the wax itself is discolored quite a bit. And then at the very end, like the last burn, it started smelling kind of like that paraffin burnt smell that happens once the oils have burned off, which is actually pretty typical for this scent and this candle. I do feel like this one performs slightly better than some of the other Merry Cookies I've burned in the past, so for that it was pretty good. But again, a nice sugar cookie scent, not one that I feel like I need to stock up on because they do bring it back pretty much every year. Now this scent on the other hand, I have properly stocked up on. I absolutely love this scent. If you saw my video when they re-released the Sweet Shop collection, I was just so excited. This is a scent that I have wanted to come back for years and years. When it originally was released years and years ago, I burned candle after candle after candle because I just loved it so much. So I was super excited when they re-released it in 2017. The notes are the ultimate French cookie is celebrated in a unique blend of ripe raspberries, juicy peach, and almond cream. It is sweet, fruity perfection, sort of a cotton candy-esque, creamy kind of vibe. This sort of underlying almondy bakery kind of scent. It's just wonderful. I love it. The strength and throw is about a 7.5. This particular one did not have a good burn. You can actually see there's quite a bit of candle left here, and it's very sooty, and the wax is quite black. This is a candle that you do have to baby a little bit. You have to to let it burn no more than 3 hours at a time, or it can get really sooty in the wax and get very discolored, as you can see. Big, deep wax pulls are great, but once the oils burn off of this candle, it would definitely go to that kind of paraffin wax smell. So this one I just wasn't able to finish. This wax pull, you can kind of see the discoloration where this is how much it had pulled out. So there's a little bit of good wax down there, but this had kind of started smelling quite sooty. And I think maybe I didn't trim the wicks enough because I was not trying to cause puny wicks, so that might have caused some of this excess sooting here. Even though this wasn't the best burn, I'm still super happy to have several of these, let's just say several of these in my collection, and I love the scent, and I will continue to deal with whatever burn issues that comes out of the scent because it's so phenomenal. The next candle I finished is this Homeworx Snow Angels. Look at the labeling. I really do think this is very pretty, and I like the little addition of the glittery sticker there. The notes on this one are candied raspberry, raspberry cream, amber, crystallized vanilla, and sandalwood. To me, this is a great scent to transition out of the like heavy, typical winter scents into spring. So to me, this was like a perfect February candle. It was a creamy raspberry scent, tart, slight sweetness. It did sort of have more of a body care vibe than like an edible vibe, but it was not fully a body care scent. There were whiffs of sort of an edibleness that I got every now and then, but it was also a scent that I felt like I would even wear. It did have this sort of slightly romantic vibe as well. There was something slightly sultry about the blend, which was just probably the amber and the sandalwood, but the fruit really balanced those notes out. So I don't want you to think this is like a feminine perfume type scent, because I don't really necessarily think it was feminine 100%. It could be feminine. I could definitely see wearing it, but those fruity kind of edible notes balanced out that kind of body care aspect very nicely. The shrink and throw on this was actually really good as well. It was 7.5, so medium high. The burn on this one was not bad. The first half of the candle actually burned great. I didn't have any issues. I lit it. I was very, very careful about trimming the wicks. I will trim off mushroom tops. I will not let them pop and sit onto my furniture, but I was very careful. I used like these small sewing scissors to kind of just gently get those off, because you don't want to over trim these wicks, because you can definitely cause puny wicks. So you have to sort of baby these wicks. But then the second half of the candle, which is where the issues are typically starting, at least in my experience with these 4 wicks, it happened with this candle as well. It didn't want to pull out. I'd stopped trimming it at that point, of course, because the wicks just got smaller and smaller and smaller. Then it started to tunnel on the sides. So what I did is I let it burn like all day for like 9 or 10 hours. I just let it go and go and go, and then it sort of did correct itself. And then after it kind of got past that little middle section, it actually kind of started doing okay again. It still never was as good as the first half, but it didn't ever tunnel again after that point. And so I was pretty happy with the subsequent burns and that it corrected itself. So really like this one. In fact, this duo with the Snow Day duo is one that I would repurchase if I can find it. I'm hoping that an as-is version will show up online. Really, really enjoyed both of these scents and would recommend them despite the burn issues, because I do feel like they were the best of the 4 wicks that I've tried thus far. The next candle I finished is this Homeworx Clean Cotton. This was the Spring TSV Trio that I had pre-ordered or advance ordered back in the fall. It is definitely a laundry day kind of scent, freshly laundered clothes, very clean and fresh. There is also this sort of aquatic note that comes out. I'm not a huge fan of laundry and cotton type scents, as you all know, but I was able to tolerate this one and finish it. And I really burned this one more so for the review itself, because I had so many people asking me like about this trio specifically. They wanted to see how these 4 wicks burn, because we've been told that the spring 4 wicks would be improved over the winter ones. So I was able to finish this one, although it's not a scent that I would personally gravitate toward. But if you like your clean cotton, you know, laundry kind of scents, I think you'd like this one. I don't think for me there was anything super special or spectacular about it. The strength and throw was about 7.5, 8 for the first half of the burn. So it started out really strong. I was quite impressed with it. It's actually like, whoa, this is almost too strong for me, just because again, I don't love these types of scent. But then the second half of the candle, the strength and throw definitely diminished quite a bit, and it was about a 5.5 on average. There were definitely times when I felt like it was a lot lighter than that. There were some times I thought maybe it was a little stronger than that, the second half of the candle, but on average it was about a 5, 5.5 the second half of the candle. The burn itself started out really good, actually. I did trim very carefully the mushroom tops off of these wicks, and it was great. It was fine. I actually took a lot of pictures and I posted them in the Candle Dancers candle group if you're interested in those. I might even try to insert a couple of pictures here and here so you can see some of the burn as it was going along. The middle of the candle is when it started to struggle. It never got what I would call 100% puny wicks where I have to cotton ball, but the wicks definitely got smaller and smaller and smaller and weaker and weaker and weaker, and it took longer and longer for the candle to pull out. So I let it burn about 8+ hours like I've done on other candles, and it did self-correct, and I didn't actually end up having a cotton ball at all. So 2 of the burns were very slow and low, but then the rest of the burns after that were fine. And you can see it actually looks pretty good in there. There isn't much residue on the side. You can kind of see a little bit down here where it kind of struggled a little bit, but it actually, you can see the wick clips. So this reminds me of how the 3 wicks would burn. It would burn all the way down to the wick clips. You would have hardly any wax left in the 3 wicks. And so here you kind of have that same resemblance that we had from the 3 wicks. Whereas the fall and winter 4 wicks definitely had a lot more wax left. It wasn't an unreasonable amount, but it was more than what we had been used to. I will say that I feel like at least based on this one candle, that this is an improvement over the fall and winter 4 wick. But it did still have issues. And I know that there are those people out there that feel like because these candles are so expensive, we shouldn't have to do that kind of babysitting. And I completely understand that point of view. I'm just wanting to share with you my experience, and it's up to you to decide what you want to do with that information. So I hope the photos in this review helped. I will definitely keep reporting as I burn more of the new 4 wicks for spring and keep y'all updated. The next candle I finished is Bath & Body Works Sweet Cherry Pie. This is a juicy sweet cherry pie scent. You get a nice amount of the pie crust, but you get a lot of that juicy sweetness. The strength and throw was a 7.5, 8. It wasn't as strong as the original version. The original version was like a 9.5, 10 for me. So not as strong as the original, but it was so adequate. Decent burn, but not great. Like the first time I reviewed this, I actually did an individual candle review, and I thought the burn was pretty good. This one actually struggled somewhat. Again, I will mention here and sort of caveat here that I had a very cold house. My heat actually went out at some point, so I was kind of warming with heaters and things as I was waiting to get that fixed. It was a lot colder in my house than normal, so that may have had an effect on how these candles burned. I did keep it in the sleeve the entire time, but it did want to struggle, so midway I did have to cotton ball it. Once I cotton balled it, it was fine from there. I finished another Lavender Cacao. This was a top 18 scent for me in 2018. English Lavender, Rich Cacao, Chamomile Blossom, and Vanilla Bean. This is a 50-50 cocoa and lavender blend in my opinion. The chamomile is there, but it's very much in the background, not a dominant note, and I'm glad about that because I'm not a huge fan of chamomile actually. The lavender is definitely there. The cocoa was definitely there. You get both notes. It's just a really nice and unique fragrance. I agree with the bronze blogger when he said this would be a great Easter scent. I absolutely think it would be. The strength and throw was a 7.5, 8. It also had a good burn. No issues. The very last burn it wanted to tunnel just a little bit, but again, my house was really cold during that very last burn, so it looks a little messy here, but it was actually fine. I didn't have any issues. Really like this one and glad that I have backups. The next candle I finished is the Bath & Body Works Paris Lavender Macaron. I've been holding it since 2015, and I thought it was time to go ahead and burn it. I do have one more that I'll probably just keep in my collection. This one is a truly French treat that combines the fragrance of lavender blossoms with a delicate patisserie cookie. I really like the label on this one, that soft pink wax. I think is really, really pretty. This one is like a sweet cotton candy scent with lavender. I don't really pick up a discernible bakery note in this one. It doesn't have that same kind of almond bakery note that the raspberry peach macaron candle has. It doesn't have that. I also don't think this is the same as lavender marshmallow. Some people say they're the same. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think they're very similar, but to me this registers more as a lavender and cotton candy scent, whereas lavender marshmallow is definitely lavender and marshmallow. It's definitely that fluffy white sweet marshmallows. They both have maybe the same lavenders, but the sweet aspects of both candles are different in my opinion. I really enjoyed this one. The strength and throw is about a 6.5, 7. It had a good burn. It was quite sooty. I don't remember it being that way back in the day, but it might have been, and I just don't remember accurately. You can see all the soot there, and the wax is of course discolored because it was like a nice baby pink, and now it's kind of a murky brown pink. I did trim the wicks at first, and then about the halfway point I stopped trimming the wicks because I could tell that they were getting smaller and smaller, and if they don't have mushroom tops on them, I won't trim them. So that's sort of my rule of thumb. If there's a mushroom top, I will trim that off. off. If not, I don't necessarily feel the need to trim the wicks, but I think maybe at some points I probably could have trimmed these a little bit to help with the sooting. But otherwise, it was a great burning candle, no issues. The scent remained the same throughout the life of the candle. Really hope we see this one back. The next candle I finished is this Goose Creek 2-wick tumbler in raspberry pinwheels. This one is very, very similar as far as scent to Yankee Candle's Mary Berry Linzer. If you ever got to try that one, it's like a jammy, sweet raspberry berry jam scent mixed with that shortbread cookie kind of note, and it was very, very yummy. The strength and throw is about a 7.5. A decent burn overall. It looks quite clean, as you can see. I would say medium sooting, not as bad as some of the other candles I've shown in this video. So really like this one. The next candle I finished is this Yankee Candle medium jar in lavender vanilla. This is a really nice, soothing lavender vanilla. Slightly more lavender than the vanilla, but just really a perfect blend. It's just so relaxing and soothing. Definitely more of an herbal, slightly powdery kind of lavender mixed with the sweet creamy vanilla. It's just really great. I like this in a lot. Unfortunately, it was very light. The strength and throw was like a 3.5. The burn was fine. It was actually quite sooty, as you can see, which is not usual, at least in my experience. For Yankee candles, they typically are pretty good. This one actually was pretty slow to pull out at times, even with an Illumilid. And then when it pulled out fully, that's when it would start sooting. So it felt like as soon as I could get it to this point where it had pulled out fully and I could actually start to smell it, I had to put it out or either trim the wick because it started sooting so badly. It was just like little puffs of soot. So that probably contributed to the strength and throw, because I felt like I never could get like a decent size wax pull to really be able to smell the scent. So another one that I really, really like, their lavender vanilla, but I wish it was a lot stronger. And the last candle that I finished in February is this Homeworx Sparkling Pink Truffle. This is part of the Truffle collection. I think the lids on these were really cute with the little bows. The notes are sparkling wine, sugar ginger, white chocolate, and raspberry liqueur. This one is a really nice and unique scent. I really, really enjoyed it. I would say that it was probably in the same family as Champagne Toast or Cranberry Pear Bellini. Not a dupe of either one of those, but they all have that sort of effervescent note present. Fruity, effervescent, bubbly kind of note. So I would say it's sort of in that same family. This one had a definitive effervescent sort of white wine, champagne kind of note that came through mixed with the raspberry. So it kind of ended up smelling to me like a raspberry mimosa. Instead of having an orange mimosa in the morning, you would have like raspberry juice or nectar with like club soda and the champagne. And that's kind of what it reminded me of as I was burning it. I could also see it being compared to like a raspberry seltzer water. There was also a creamy sweetness that would pop out occasionally, which I'm going to say is maybe the white chocolate. It wasn't dominant at all. It didn't make itself known throughout the life of the candle, but every now and then I would get this little bit of a creamy sweetness that was really nice. The strength and throw was like an 8, 8.5. This scent is one of the strongest, if not the strongest Homeworx candle I've burned to date, so I was really happy with that. The burn itself was actually great. The first half of the candle, and then I'm sure you know what I'm going to say now, about the 2/3 mark, the wicks got really, really small. Again, trim these very, very carefully. I only trim the mushroom tops off, and then when there's no mushroom tops, I don't trim them. So you know, you have to use your judgment. You can see how tiny the little wicks are there. Even though the wicks got really, really small, I never actually had to cotton ball the candle, but it was definitely very slow to pull out the last third of the candle. Although even though it was slower to pull out, and at some points you can kind of see where it started to tunnel, it still had a decent strength and throw, so that was good. Despite that, I would definitely repurchase this scent. Now, the two other scents in the trio was the Mentalicious Truffle. I didn't really prefer that scent. And then it also came with a coffee chocolate scent, which I haven't burned yet, but I think it would be one that I would trade. So I don't think I'll be able to get another one of these, but if I could buy it just as a 2-pack, I would definitely get this one scent again. So fingers crossed, maybe he'll bring it back later this year or early next year, and I could get it in a 2-pack because it was really great. And if you happen to want to trade this candle for another candle, let me know. Reach out to me on Instagram and I'll be happy to just do a trade, because I really enjoyed this one a lot. And if I had actually burned this one in 2018, I think I would have probably had this one in my top 18 scents of 2018. But for what it is, it might end up in my 2019 top favorites. We'll see. Okie dokie, y'all, that is it. That is everything that I melted and used and burned in February 2019. I know this is a long video. I feel like I was quite rambly at some point. So if you did watch both portions of the video, the wax and the candle, leave me a purple heart below. I really loved seeing so many of you pop up and leave comments and on the past couple videos. And as I said in the beginning, it really does keep me motivated hearing from you all to keep wanting to do these videos. Let me know also in the comments below what you melted and burned this month and what were your favorite scents. Did you do a theme like I did? Did you do any kind of floral or bakery scents, or were you still doing like winter scents? I always love to hear what your favorites were because it gives me ideas of things I might need to try myself. Thank you as always for all of your support. If you liked this video or found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see other videos like this, please subscribe. I do have a lot of videos I actually want to film. I've got a lot of ideas. If I can find the time, I'm hoping that I can devote some time and energy into getting some more content up on this channel. I've got a lot of vendor wax hauls, RoseGirls, Super Tarts, Destination Wax, Empire Alchemy. I've got Goose Creek, Kringle, Bath and Body Works. Of course, my big spring Bath and Body Works candle haul will be coming up as well. So if you're interested in any of those videos, please subscribe if you haven't already. As always, thank you so much for all of your support, your kind words, the likes and the comments. And for people who don't like or comment but still watch, thank you as well. I hope you all have a fabulous rest of your day. Bye.